and time.
Okay, this next speaker is Mary. She's going to be talking for 5 to 7 minutes. The purpose is to review basic research methods, present a well-organized, well-researched speech on any topic.
Thank you, Tom. And now I have the pleasure to introduce you to Mary. The title of her speech is "Do This When Your Change Initiative is Falling."
Great. Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Mary Verone, and I'm a Global Change Manager. And today I'm going to take you through a little bit of what I do for a living, and we're even going to do a little exercise. So there should be a little sheet of paper in front of you, and that's going to be our exercise for today. I have a title slide up here. It's called "Do This When Your Change Initiative is Failing." And that's my son crying and screaming because we made him change what he was doing. He wanted to eat, and we took the food away from him. Those are things that happen to us when change happens and we aren't happy with it. Most change initiatives fail. In my presentation today, I'm going to talk a little bit about change initiatives that you personally may be going through or something at work. And I'll do it interchangeably because you can use these techniques at work or for yourself. In this example, I did some pro-sci research, and in the chart it shows there is a correlation between poor management techniques and success rates. And you can see the more change management techniques that are used, the higher the success rates. There's also a picture of a lady curled up in a fetal position on 2 chairs. That's what happens to people when they don't know what to do, when they're change fatigued or change saturation happens, and they just become unproductive. So today I'm going to tell you some techniques that hopefully, if this happens to you, you can become and get over that situation and don't end up like this poor woman. Change management is about the people side of change. You may have heard about change management from an IT perspective, about changing controls and changes in projects, but change management typically is known from a people side because often things that fail are because people are resistant to the change. Has it ever happened to you at work where someone has said, oh, you have to do this thing? And for example, maybe you think to yourself, this was the flavor of the month. It's going to go away in a month. I'm not even going to bother trying to learn it. Or maybe a senior person comes in, a senior executive, and says, you know what, we're going to do it this way. And you say, but we did it that way already. Has that happened to anybody else, or is that just me? Yeah, it happens. And that's one of the reasons why we were resistant. There are other things. So in that chart there, it talks a little bit about behavior change. If you have to go through a behavior change, maybe you want to go on a diet. It's a big change. People are resistant to those things. So those are some of the things that people need help with. Toastmasters is a great example. How many people here have delayed a speech because you were stuck? For me, it was vocal variety. The person before me did wolf howls, and I thought there's no way I could do it. And for 4 months, I didn't give a speech. Is there anybody else who's done that? That's resistance. So today we're going to try a little exercise. The piece of paper in front of you. Hopefully everybody has a pen. And the way we're going to do, you don't have a pen? You can take mine. Thank you. There you go. I want you to think about a time where you may have been resistant to something. And if you can't think of anything, perhaps being a Toastmaster. Have you signed up to be a Toastmaster? That might be an example. Or have you ever delayed a speech, or maybe it's a diet, or maybe it's something you're doing at work. Think about something that you've been wanting to do, but you haven't been able to do. For our example, I'm going to use the example of the Toastmaster example. So, is everybody aware that we need a Toastmaster? If that's your example, then you put a check mark next to the A, or for whatever your example might be. Are you aware that you need to go on a diet? Are you aware that you need to give speeches? Make a check next to the A if you're aware of it. If you're not aware, so maybe you didn't know that we need a Toastmaster to sign up, then put an X. If you're a guest, I would expect that to be a sample of why you would be resistant to sign up as a Toastmaster. Oops, sorry. And then the next thing is, do you desire it? Do you desire being Toastmaster? Maybe you never want to be a Toastmaster. Maybe you don't really want to give speeches and you're forced because your manager told you to come here. If it's something that you do desire, put a check mark next to the second thing. I think it's a D. Put an X if it's something you don't desire. The next one is knowledgeable. Are you knowledgeable about why, for example, we need Toastmasters? Put an X if you do not, if you're not resistant to this change. Put a check mark if you are. And then we have two more. Ability is the next one. Perhaps you don't want to sign up for Toastmaster because you're not able to do it. You don't have the voice. Maybe you're working on projecting your voice, and you know that you can't do that because nobody will be able to hear you. You need to get to a certain level. So put a check mark next to that, which is the A, or an X if that's where you think you're stuck in the change that you're going through. And then lastly is reinforcement. For the example of the Toastmaster, maybe you're like, I signed up for Toastmaster, I did it 2 years ago. Well, why don't you sign up now? That's reinforcement. There's a reason why you're probably not signing up. Put a check mark next to that if you are. Put an X if that's your area of resistance. And that helps you determine where it is, folks, on the change management spectrum. In conclusion, successful change feels good. If you get through that diet, if you actually be Toastmaster, you'll see that it's not all that hard. Get your speeches done. Get a mentor if you need. But making sure that you can be successful feels really great, and then you're productive. If anybody has any questions, please let me know. You can connect to me on LinkedIn. I have a blog about it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.